Hey guys, so today we're going to do an oil change on a 2006 Chevy Colorado. So here's what I'm going to be using for the oil change. I'm going to use an oil catch, of course our new oil, and if you guys want to comment below about what's the best oil and the best filter, then that's all up to you, but this is what I've got. I got Pennzoil 5W30, I've got a Fram filter, I've got a funnel for our oil, a 13mm socket, my oil filter wrench, but you guys can always use other types of wrenches like this or like this, but this one seems like it's going to fit better for my uses. Got me a couple rubber gloves, and that's really about it for what I'm going to use to change this oil. Okay, so right here I'm kind of underneath the front of the truck, but this is really the driver's side of the truck, but this is almost right into the middle. But you can see that my bolt, my oil bolt right here is kind of in the middle of the truck itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this, bring the catch over, and let it drain. Okay, so as I'm letting that drain, I'm going to have my hood open. I'm just going to take the oil cap off, and that's going to help airflow get down and kind of push out the rest of that oil. So here's my oil plug for my drain. I'm just making sure that everything looks okay on it. There's no gunk on it before I put it back in. And now I'm ready to put it back in. So I'm just going to take my plug, hand tighten it back on, just kind of wiping it off. Take my 13mm socket, just tighten her down. That's it for that. Yeah, this might be a little difficult to see, but now the camera is looking at from the passenger side of the truck, and right here is the oil filter. And as you'll see, as soon as I open this up, it's going to kind of drain everywhere. But there is this little catch right here. You'll kind of see a nozzle, I guess you might say, a little runoff that is supposed to catch some of that oil and then drip it down, which is where I'm going to be putting the oil catch. So that's the next thing I'll be doing, is taking that off, draining into this, and then draining into here. So right here you're just going to see me trying to get the wrench up and around the oil filter. Now I'm having kind of a problem with it right now because I'm trying to keep out of the way of the camera at the same time as I'm doing this. So it takes me a second to get my hand around here so I can actually pull it off. But that's all I'm really doing right now, is just trying to arrange the wrench so it can actually get around the oil filter properly. After I've got it loosened, now I'm just going to take it off by hand. This is when we make that nice mess, and hopefully you have your oil catch underneath. And we're just going to let that drain out for a minute. It's still kind of draining a little bit, but most of the oil is out, as you can see. I'm just going to kind of wipe this a little bit so I don't drench myself in oil. Get my new oil filter out. what I'm going to do here, take some of that old oil and just rub it right around here on this seal, and that's going to help it seal in a little bit. Just make sure it's covered. It doesn't have to be soaked or anything, but just make sure you give it a good covering. Just like that. And also, some people like to pre-fill the filter to prevent the pump from being starved and causing unnecessary wear. So if you'd like to do that, you can go ahead and put some oil in that filter before you put it back up in there. Put it in by hand a little bit here. Just taking my towel and just kind of wiping it off a little bit as I tighten it. And really, I'm just going to hand tighten this as hard as I can till it won't stop, or till it stops totally, just like that. And that should be good. Sometimes they say to kind of tighten it by hand and then give it a quarter turn. So if you want to do that, you can. You can put your these back up. Give it a little, maybe not even that much turn. Then that's it. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a napkin and I'm going to wipe this all up. Make sure I'm not going to get oil on every bit of this undercarriage. So that's my next step. This is also a step I found that if you take to a dealer, they don't always do. And you end up with oil everywhere. So the next thing we're going to do is just put the oil back in. So once you got your oil in, you replace your cap. After you're done with your oil change, you're going to want to do an oil reset in your truck. So I'm going to put my key in the ignition. I'm going to turn it till it clicks, and then I'm going to turn it one more time till it clicks without starting the vehicle. Just enough for my indicator lights to come on. Once that's done cycling through, I'm going to press this little button until I get to where it says oil life right there. And all I was doing is I'm just hitting it and letting go, hitting it, letting go, hitting it, letting go, until I find it right there. Now the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to push in and then hold it until I hear 3 beeps. And then that should reset your oil indicator. So that's it for changing the oil in a 2006 Chevy Colorado. I hope you guys will subscribe and hope you'll comment on the video. Otherwise, I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys next time.